Every choice changes everything. You are listening to Crossroads Story. Forgive, fall, rise. Elara took a deep breath as she stepped closer to the charred remains of her hometown's gates. The scent of smoke still lingered in the air, a reminder of the fire that had ripped through her beloved community. At just 12 years old, she felt older than her years, carrying the weight of memories that seemed to echo through the ash-filled silence. As she stood before the entrance, her heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. This was the place where she had laughed with friends, played in summer sunshine, and celebrated birthdays with cake and balloons. Now, everything lay in ruins. The burnt trees reached towards the sky like skeletal fingers, and the ground was littered with remnants of a life once full of color. Elara remembered her mother's calming voice telling her to be brave. "We will rebuild," she had said with unwavering faith. Holding on to that thought, Elara stepped forward, vowing to honor those memories and keep her promise alive. Today, she would gather what was left of her past and rally her community to rise from the ashes together. The gates stood tall yet broken, their once vibrant paint now reduced to faded blackened wood. Charred edges and twisted metal framed the entrance, telling a story of destruction and heartbreak. Elara stepped closer, feeling the rough texture of the burnt wood beneath her fingers. Each splinter seemed to whisper echoes of laughter and joy from days gone by. These gates had been a proud symbol of her community, welcoming families and friends to share in celebrations, festivals, and everyday life. Now, as she gazed at the remnants, they represented both loss and resilience. The skeletal structure reminded her of the strength hidden within their community. Though the fire had ravaged much, it could not erase the spirit that lingered in every heart. With each passing moment, Elara felt more determined. She imagined how these gates could once again welcome people with open arms. As she stood before them, she realized that her mission was not just to rebuild structures, but to restore hope and unity among her neighbors. The burned gates would serve as a powerful reminder of their journey, a testament to their ability to rise again from even the darkest times. As Elara stood before the gates, her mind drifted back to that frightening day, the day of the fire. It was an ordinary afternoon when she first smelled the smoke, a thick, acrid scent that made her stomach churn. At first, she thought it might be a campfire in the distance, but then she saw the dark clouds rising above the treetops. Panic gripped her heart as she heard shouts and sirens pierce the air. She rushed inside to find her family gathered in the living room, eyes wide with fear. "We have to go," her mother urged, grabbing Elara's hand tightly. The sounds of chaos filled their ears as they fled out the back door. Elara's little brother clung to her side, his face pale and trembling. They raced through their yard, dodging flames that leaped towards them like wild animals. As they reached safety on a nearby hill, Elara turned back just in time to see their home engulfed in fiery destruction. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she held her brother close, feeling both helpless and scared. That moment would forever be etched in her memory, a reminder of what was lost and what they would fight to regain. As Elara stood before the gates, a new determination sparked within her. She knew that while the flames had taken much from her, some memories might still survive among the ruins of her home. With a deep breath, she turned and walked back into the charred landscape, her heart pounding with both hope and fear. She navigated through the remnants of what once was, carefully peering into the blackened wreckage. Her eyes scanned for anything that could hold a piece of her childhood, perhaps a photograph tucked in a drawer or a beloved toy hidden under debris. Each step brought back fragments of laughter, birthdays filled with cake, and quiet afternoons spent reading in her room. Finally, she spotted something glimmering through the ash, a small metal box. With trembling hands, Elara pulled it free and opened it to find old family photos, their colors faded but still holding precious memories. Tears filled her eyes as she realized that these images were more than just pictures. They were echoes of love and joy that would guide her as she worked to rebuild her community, and honor their shared past. With the metal box of photos clutched tightly in her hands, Elara made her way back toward the heart of the community. As she walked through the remnants of her childhood, she spotted familiar faces gathering near a small clearing. Old friends and neighbors, all united by the same grief and determination, were sharing their stories amidst the ruins. "Elara," called out a voice. It was Mia, her best friend from school, her eyes bright with relief. They rushed to each other, exchanging hugs that felt like lifelines in this sea of sorrow. Around them, others shared tales of their escape, how they had helped one another during those harrowing moments. Each story was a thread weaving them closer together. As they gathered in a circle, Elara felt hope spark anew. They discussed ways to rebuild, from starting a community garden to organizing cleanup efforts. "We can do this together," Elara said boldly, inspired by the resilience around her. Laughter began to replace some of the tears as plans took shape. In that moment, amidst the wreckage, they forged a new bond, one that would help them rise stronger than before. As Elara stood among her friends and neighbors, a deep sense of sadness washed over her. The laughter and plans for the future felt bright, but they were colored by the heavy shadow of what had been lost. Each story shared reminded her of the warmth of home, the laughter around dinner tables, and the simple joys of childhood, now all reduced to memories and ashes. Yet, amid her sorrow, a flicker of hope ignited within her. She thought about the metal box she had found earlier, the photographs that captured moments frozen in time. Each image was a reminder that while their homes may have burned, their bonds remained strong. The spirit of their community could not be extinguished. Elara closed her eyes for a moment, allowing herself to feel both grief and hope simultaneously. It was this internal struggle that fueled her determination to rebuild not just structures but hearts and dreams. "Together, we can create something new," she whispered to herself, embracing both sadness for what was lost and hope for what could be rebuilt. Elara realized resilience wasn't just about moving forward. It was about carrying the past with them as they forged ahead hand in hand. As Elara joined her community members in their planning, a powerful memory surfaced, one that solidified her purpose. In the midst of the fire's chaos, she had made an unbreakable vow to protect her loved ones and restore their community, no matter how daunting the challenges ahead. It was a promise whispered fiercely in her heart while she clutched her brother's hand, trembling in fear as they escaped the flames. She recalled how she had looked at him, seeing not just the fear in his eyes, but also the trust he placed in her. "We will be safe," she had vowed, "and we will rebuild." That pledge had kept her grounded amidst uncertainty, fueling her resolve even when everything felt lost. Now, as they gathered to imagine a healed community, filled with laughter and life again, Elara felt that same fierce determination rising within her. She shared her vow with the others, urging them to remember that their strength came not just from what they would rebuild, but also from their connection to one another. With hearts united and spirits unyielding, they would turn their vision into reality, honoring every facet of their past while stepping boldly into a new future together. Elara sprang into action, her determination propelling her to help where she could. She organized volunteers to clean up the debris scattered around neighborhoods and gathered vital resources for those most affected by the fire. With every meeting, she ignited a sense of purpose in her friends who had once felt lost amid their grief. She began by visiting families to assess their needs, listening intently as they shared their stories. Elara discovered that many needed simple supplies: clean water, food, and clothing. Inspired by the belief that they could rely on each other to rise, she encouraged everyone to bring whatever they could spare. Soon, a donation drive took shape in the community center, bustling with activity. Neighbors worked side by side, their laughter echoing like music as they sorted through boxes of clothes and packed meals. Elara felt pride swell in her heart as she watched friendships strengthen and new connections form. When someone suggested holding a community garden to bring fresh produce and joy back to their lives, Elara beamed. Their teamwork was not just about rebuilding physically, It was nurturing a bond that would carry them forward, together. Standing once more at the burned gates, Elara took a moment to breathe deeply. The air was still heavy with the remnants of smoke, but she could also sense the stirring of new life on the horizon. She closed her eyes and allowed memories to wash over her. Playing games with friends in the sunshine, the sound of laughter that once filled her home, and family gatherings around a warm table. Though devastation loomed around her, there was also the unmistakable glimmer of hope in the air. Elara opened her eyes, gazing at the charred wood and twisted metal that now told their own story, a story of survival and resilience. It represented not just what had been lost, but what could be rebuilt. In that moment, she felt a deep connection to her past intertwined with an invigorating vision for the future. The gates would one day welcome people back, just as they had before, but this time infused with strength born from shared struggles. With determination bubbling within her, Elara understood that while memories anchored her to the past, it was hope and unity that would guide them forward into a brighter tomorrow. As Elara stood before the burned gates one last time, she felt a profound sense of purpose wash over her. The memories of laughter, warmth, and love flooded her heart, reminding her of everything worth fighting for. These gates, once a symbol of joy, had transformed into a powerful reminder of resilience and the strength drawn from their shared experiences. Elara took a moment to reflect on the vow she had made during that horrific day, the promise to protect her loved ones and restore their community. Now surrounded by friends and neighbors who shared that same commitment, she knew they would honor those memories together. The journey ahead would not be easy, but they had each other to lean on. With renewed determination, Elara envisioned the future they would build, a vibrant community garden filled with fresh vegetables, children playing in safe spaces, and laughter echoing through the streets once more. As the sun began to set behind the charred remains of the gates, she felt hopeful. Together, they would rise from the ashes, forging new memories while cherishing those of the past. Elara's heart swelled with pride as she embraced the strength of their bonds and the promise of a new beginning. Another story ends. Another crossroad crossed. Subscribe now for more tales of love, betrayal, and redemption.